Hi, I'm Stefan, the BMW DIY guy. Do you want to improve the intake on your BMW 3 Series? I'll show you how. All right, y'all, so let's walk through this project and the reasons why you're going to want to do this yourself. Now, this is a G20, so the M340. It still has the OEM airbox, and this is a really simple install. It can make a significant difference in your car. This adds a little bit of performance. It can change the sounds of your intakes a little bit and takes out that relatively restrictive OEM airbox. This is the brand new intake from Infinite Autowerks. This is a really straightforward install, and I'm going to walk you through every step along the way. All right, let's jump under the hood. Let's get started. All right, so starting here underneath, we're going to have to take the OEM one out, of course. You undo your MAF sensor. There's a little white tab right here. You can easily pry it out very gently. Press down on the tab, and then that will come off. Just tuck it away safely. Then you have a hose clamp right here that you want to loosen up. Once you get that hose clamp off, you can start to wiggle the entire box out. Now you can use what's usually is like a 6mm socket or just a flat screwdriver in this case to loosen up this worm drive on this, and then it will start to come loose from all of this assembly, as you can see right there. As you grab underneath it, the whole box is going to come up and away off a series of rubber grommets, and it can be really tight, as you can tell, because it's probably not been out since it was at the factory. Okay, so we're just going to work it off those grommets just like that. And then the whole box comes out really simply. Now be really careful. We're going to be changing the MAF sensor to the new intake here in a second. But as you can see, the whole box is out just like that, very simply. Now let me get my camera angle so you can see a little bit of a better angle down below, because we're also going to take off this pipe as well. So the inlet pipe we're going to want to take off, and you can see it wiggles back and forth. So if I point down right here, you can see right there the loop on one of these little horseshoe collars. So you want to get it, use a pick tool. I like these hooked pick tools to get around that little loop right there. And then you're going to want to just take it and pull it out. And then this whole assembly will come off. Now you notice there's a wiring harness that is still connected right here. This is just on a little metal clip. You can use a screwdriver to just back that off. This just got little metal fingers that hangs on, because you're going to want to take that off before this whole pipe assembly comes out. So go ahead and reach down there with that pick, pull the loop to get that collar loose, and then this whole intake piece will come off. All right, so now that this inlet is loose, and I'll use my screwdriver to point, you're going to see you have one hose connection right here. So the inlet will not come out until you get this, until you undo that hose connection. It's a squeeze on both sides. So you're going to have to get your fingers in and squeeze and pull it away from the pipe. I like pulling this inlet off first because it gives me a little bit more room, as you can see, to get my hand down in here, where before it was so tight up against the rest of the hoses that you really can't get to it. But be gentle on this. Last thing you want to do is break this. So just be gentle, pull this inlet away just enough that you can get your hands on that, squeeze it off, and then you can take this inlet out. All right, so as you can see, it's out. It just takes a little bit of time and patience to get that connection off. So then you have your C-clip or horseshoe clip, whatever you want to call it. You're going to want to take this off the pipe. It just sits like this. We're going to transfer it to the new one. And then we have this nice big orange gasket on the inside. We're also going to transfer it to the new pipe as well. So very carefully pick this out. So you can see, just like that. And we're going to transfer it to the new one, and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so you can see that the gasket is transferred. I just fit it into the same slot, make sure it sits in fully. There's always a little bit of oil in there, so it actually makes it easier to get in. Your clip will only go in really in one orientation, like that, when it's fully secure. You can't put it on like that, it won't fit, right? You'll have to set the arms back just a little bit when you put this into place, like that. But we'll walk through that in just a second to get this clip into place. You can also see there's an indentation on one side of the inlet that goes around around your intake pipe that's down below. So there's really only one way it goes in. So I would plug in this evaporation hose, slide this into place, work your clip on and work it into place just like that. Make sure it's nice and secure. Once it's in place, and I'll show you what this looks like, just get your hand on the inside and you can just move it around to make sure that this clip is actually on and it's not loose. All right, so let's get this new inlet pipe on. All right, so you can see that the inlet is on, and being able to get your hand down here to move it around is really nice. Make sure you get your evaporation line on right there, and it goes on with a full click. When it's all in place, it should make a really healthy click when it goes in. So make sure that that is solid. And then on your C-clamp or horseshoe clamp down at the bottom, now you can tell that it's clipped into place because the pipe, while it will rotate, won't come off. But make sure that both arms are in the track as well, so it's on and nice and secure. Okay, so now let's get the rest of the pieces into place. All right, a couple of things here in prep. So you've got these rubber grommets here, here, and here. Check your other airbox because these grommets will frequently come out. So in my case, this bottom one had come off, this one had come off, so I just pulled them off the OEM airbox and stuck them back into place, so they're there. Now, this is also a good time to put the rubber boot on, the new inlet, and you've got a hose clamp, because now you can get it set up exactly to the right place. You make sure that the rubber boot is over the top of the ridges on the inlet, and your hose clamp can be in a good position. I would say probably about here. We can get a screwdriver to it really easily to tighten that down. Now, I just need to slide it down further. So go ahead and get your boot on with the hose clamp to get this all secure. And then you're going to be dropping that shielding box in next, and then the intake as well. All right, so once you have the boot into place, I find it's easier to go ahead and install the upper pipe and then fit the shield around this rather than trying to fit the pipe through the shield. So you just fit this down into place, get it in a nice set position. And the nice thing is, like I said, this will move on that lower assembly. Now, what I am also going to do is I'm going to put the hose clamp about right here so I can get to it easily enough. So if I need to twist this pipe a little bit, I can once the shield's in place. Now, I've also taken off the MAF sensor off the original OEM piece. They're T20s on the OEM. They come with screws in the new pipes. This only goes in one orientation, so you don't have to worry about which way it's angled. Just be gentle with this. These can be a little bit fragile. Don't drop them. Okay, so go ahead and get this in place, get the hose clamp snug, and then we're going to fit the heat shield in next. All right, so we're going to fit the heat shield down into place, but what I've also done is I've taken all the provided, these kind of rubber cover edge covers. The long one goes around this edge and down this side and around the corner and all the way up. The shorter one goes on this side. The big one goes around this side. There's also the longer big one that's going to go on the lead edge of this cover once you put this on. But as you can see, this is going to secure down really nicely in place. So what I'm going to do is just fit it around the pipe, get it on the other side of the existing OEM heat shield, and just work this down into place. So let me get this all turned around for you, and I'll show you what this looks like once it's sitting down into place. All right, y'all, so let's talk through fitment here a little bit as we get through all this. Now, I've loosened this top clamp significantly, which is going to give me more play in this pipe. So if this pipe, when you're fitting this into place, is really fighting you, then you need to loosen up this top clamp to almost its maximum to give the silicone boot the ability to shift and move. It's going to be fine once we crank it down, and we're going to want to have this hose clamp up to the very top of the boot when we tighten it down. But now I've been able to fit this in because initially it wanted to sit a little funny, but once you loosen that and you twist it, it gets into place really, really nicely. And you can tell that the heat shield's in the right place because it lines up with the front bolt hole here. It lines up with the bolt here, which we're going to put in. This is a T30 bolt right here and a T40 bolt that's going to go through with the washers to secure this in place. So go ahead and get those set, but go ahead and get all of this set into place. And tightening down this clamp is probably going to be the last thing I do, even after I get the filter on, because what I want to do is make sure to get the filter in place and away from the wall and all set up really, really nicely, which will give me a little bit of ability to move this pipe, and then I'll tighten that down last, which is why the position on that worm drive is so important, so you can get to it once all of this is done. Okay, so go ahead and get these secure, get these bolts in. We're going to get the filter on next. All right, y'all, so once the bolts are in place and secure, you're good to go, and you still have play in this upper pipe. Now, I've gone ahead and plugged in the MAF sensor and pushed the clip back down, so that's secure and good to go. When you fit the filter in, make sure to get the hose clamp in a position where you can get to it, and then you still have a little bit of play in this pipe, because when we fit the filter on, we don't want it crushed up against the body of the car. So let's get that fit in, and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so the air filter is on, and I want to share a couple of tips and tricks as we go through this, because you're going to have to find the right one that works for you. This clearance is pretty tight as the intake comes up through the heat shield here. So what I found is I actually pulled the pipe back off this rubber boot in the bottom and turned it this way, so kind of counterclockwise, enough to give me a good angle to get the filter on and then tighten the filter down. Once that was set, I turned it back down into the rubber boot down here and got it to fit in. So you can do it that way. You can also have try to fit the filter on with the pipe in place. It's just a matter of all finding the right angle where it's going to fit on perfectly. But once this is in and secure and you've got good clearance away from the rest of the body of the car, you're set there. Make sure that your screws are tight here and here. We're going to put the lid on next. At that point, you're done. Here we go. All right, y'all, all done. As you can tell, it looks great. I really love the way this looks and gets that kind of wonky OEM intake out. The only hard thing about this is really getting the angle of the filter on with this pipe, but as long as you keep this upper band loose to allow yourself to angle it all, it really isn't that hard. So double check everything, make sure everything is tight, make sure your top clamp here is tight. Other than that, you're good to go. Go ahead and clean up and put your tools away. All right, also go ahead and clean and put your tools away. You can tell this is not a hard install to do whatsoever. And I'm really impressed with this intake from Infinite Autowerks. Fits really, really well. You know, their filter they made themselves. It's made here in the US. Even simple things like the coating on the heat shield and the nuts and bolts are good quality steel instead of zinc or something else like that. So all in all, great manufacturer, really easy to install, and will make a difference in your car. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to click like and subscribe. It makes a genuine difference to my channel, and I would truly appreciate it. Thank you, and I'll see you on my next video.